What's going on, everyone? Welcome to TDY, Faith, Family, and Finance, where we grow more in each of these areas every single day. For those that don't know me, my name is Winston. You can call me Winnie, though. I'm a full-time tech nerd. I'm an entrepreneur, real estate investor, and today I want to jump into this topic, the most lucrative investment strategies in real estate for 2022 going into 2023. I'm going to break down the what's, the whys, the hows. I'm going to give you all the game that my mentors have been giving me over the last couple months. And I think this is going to be a really interesting show. So if y'all are interested in that, stick around. All right, so Bet, before I start, I really want to just say a blanket statement that there are literally 1,000,001 ways to make money in real estate. There is no one strategy that is the best strategy. That being said, there's two things you really want to nail down before you start real estate investing. The first is your niche. The second is your strategy. So a niche is essentially, think about it as like the type of property that you buy, right? So that's going to be your single family homes, your small multifamilies, your large multifamily, et cetera, right? And then your strategy is what you do with that property. So think long-term rentals, short-term rentals, fix and flip, buy and hold, right? All these different strategies that are associated with real estate. So before you jump into real estate, nail down two things, your niche and your strategy. Now, in this video in particular, I'm going to be talking about 3 of the more lucrative niche strategy combos that I've seen in the game, my mentors have seen in the game, and that I've personally invested in and plan on investing in as well. Now, I'm going to say this again because y'all going to stress me out in these comments. However, there is not one way to get this done. But given this economic climate right now, I think that these are the best 3 ways that you should do it. Well, the first strategy that I would recommend is buying and holding small multifamily properties. So when I say small multifamily, I'm referring to residential multifamily. So residential multifamily is anything between 1 to 4 units or 2 to 4 units, right? So this is your duplexes, your triplexes, and your quadplexes. So the reason I really like buying and holding these types of units is, one, they're still affordable for a solo investor in today's day and age. Because these properties classify as residential properties, meaning that they can be your primary residence, right? Like nobody that's about to buy a 16-unit building, right? A bank is not going to think that that's going to be your residence, right? They're going to think it's an investment. But for some reason, quadplexes qualify for residential. So they are considered properties that you can live in. And once that is established, that means now that you don't have to put 20% down anymore. You can put as little as 5% down. Sometimes, if you're really smart about it, you can put as little as 3.5% down. And if you've watched my other videos about FHA 203K loans, you know that you can put 3.5% down and then roll any rehab costs into the entire loan as well. So now, once you've purchased one of these types of units, right, duplex, triplex, quadplex, I really do feel like the world is your oyster because there's so much that you can do with it, right? Like the strategies are pretty much endless. You can go long-term rentals, short-term rentals, right? You can just buy and hold it and just sit on it and live in one and then, pay the mortgage. I recommend obviously renting it out and all that, right? But definitely just buy and hold it, right? And the reason that I say this, employ any of these strategies, but make sure you hold it. Reason that I say this is because rates have gone up, obviously. Right now, we're floating in the 5.5 to 6 range, right? If you have great credit, right, and a solid down payment, you might be able to get 5.2 right now. I'm not seeing 5s anymore, and I'm definitely not seeing any 4s. But once we realize that we're kind of stuck in this 5 to 6 range, it really cuts down a lot of people's buying power, right? Like people that can afford a $400,000 home last year really can now only afford up to $320,000 or $330,000. And that sucks, obviously, but it does present an opportunity for the people that do have these properties right now, because people aren't going to be able to buy anymore. That means that they're going to likely have to rent. And as we know, this world, specifically America, right, produces a lot more families than it does houses, meaning that there is going to be, and kind of is already, a housing crisis on the market. So you have a commodity, housing, that is going to be really valuable as time progresses. So what does that mean for you? That means that if you sit on this property, you buy it, hold it, you rent it out to pay your mortgage, inevitably it's going to go up in value. That's called appreciation. So it's definitely going to appreciate, and you should definitely be able to cash flow because people are going to want the commodity that you have, which is housing. Now, in a few years, when interest rates go down a little bit and we've kind of curbed this inflation thing that's happening right now, you will be able to capitalize on that appreciation. You could potentially sell the property, right, at 30-40% more than you paid for it. But throughout that entire time, you will have the cash flow that you built up from the property. So interestingly enough, I actually employed this exact same strategy last year. So I bought a single family home and I converted it into a triplex essentially. It was officially a duplex, but I ran it like a triplex, and I separated some things. And I lived in one of them and I Airbnb'd the other 2 units. And it was very, very lucrative. I say was because I ended up selling it once I found out I was going to be a dad, by the way. My priorities kind of shifted. I was like, all right, let me stop scaling my real estate business for a second. Let me make sure that my family has a backyard that they can, play around in. But I held on to that property for about 18 months. I Airbnb'd it for about 12 out of those 18 months, averaging roughly around $3,000 to $4,000 a month gross, about 15 to 2K net, after accounting for all expenses, mortgage, and all of that, right? So it was very, very lucrative. I ended up selling it a few months ago for 35K in profit, so 35% more than I bought it for, and also not to mention the roughly 45K or so that I made over the course of the year by Airbnbing it. So very, very lucrative strategy. I wish that I could have held on to that property forever. However, I realize that there will be other opportunities to own real estate. As a matter of fact, I'm currently working on one right now, but that is neither here or there. But yeah, needless to say, incredibly lucrative strategy if you get the deal right. All right, so the second one, and I need y'all to stick with me on this one. The second one is high-end single-family Section 8 rentals. So I'll admit, right, when I got put onto this, I was a little bit skeptical at first. But then when I started doing some research into it, when I spoke to some people in the game already, it really started making sense. My mentor kind of broke it down for me. He kind of explained why it's really very lucrative and why he's been able to make some money in it, and why it can be scalable as well. I'm gonna explain all that to you, but I just need y'all to keep an open mind for the next 2 to 3 minutes, okay? Can y'all do that for me? Okay, perfect. So here's an exercise. Close your eyes really quickly, and I want you to picture a Section 8 rental, right? Like when I say Section 8 rentals, what do you picture? Like an ugly, like crack house type of, white appliances, everything is torn down type of environment, right? Okay, if that's what you pictured, I need you to let go of your unconscious biases, and I need you to go for a little jog with me, all right? So for those that don't know, Section 8 is actually just a government program that helps disabled people, the elderly, and low-income families find affordable housing in the private housing market, right? By subsidizing what they can afford with a little bit of cash or a little bit of bread on the side. Not all Section 8 people are abusing the system. Not all Section 8 people are on crack. Not all Section 8 people are going to destroy your property. It just comes down to how you screen these individuals. These are human beings. They watch HGTV just like you and I. Right? They like stainless steel appliances. They like the quartz and the marble type of countertops, right? A lot of these people are single moms with 3-4 kids, they're trying to get their kids away from the hood and away from a lot of the stuff that you are trying to run away from as well. Just because they don't have the money that you have does not necessarily make them better or worse tenants than anybody that you know. So I love this strategy for either single family homes or multifamily homes for a number of reasons. First reason is it incentivizes you really to go get a good property. I can't tell you how many times I've seen slumlords, literally just doing the bare minimum. And I mean, you're gonna make your bread, right? Because you own the property at the same place, but why not like if you're gonna do something, do it with a standard, right? Like do it with some integrity. And a lot of these people that like go into Section 8 rentals, they'll go buy like a $20,000 home, slap some paint on it, like it's clearly unsafe, it clearly has mold, it's just, and people are gonna treat the home, the way that they perceive it. And I think it's actually called like the broken glass theorem or something like that, with law enforcement. Like if you clean up an area and you make it nice and presentable, people are going to respect that area, and it's actually going to account for less crime than an area with, that's just cluttered and disheveled and messed up essentially. So what does that mean? That means that these luxury, I say luxury again, like luxury Section 8 rentals, right? And when I say luxury, I really just mean like higher end, right? Like spring for the stainless steel appliances, like put some luxury vinyl in there so you're not ripping up your peel and stick tiles, every 6 months or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like actually go get somebody licensed to do the work so that the floor is leveled and a pencil doesn't roll from your living room to your kitchen back door. You know what I'm saying? Like actually put some effort into the property. So another reason that I really love Section 8 rentals is that it really takes a lot of the guesswork out of the investing process. So for example, one thing I love about it is that the rents are essentially predefined. They're based off of something called the fair market value. And this is essentially just an aggregate of, the market rents or whatever in a specific area. So for example, it'll tell you, hey, a 2-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom house in this particular zip code, you can rent that for up to $1,200, or a 4-bedroom, you can rent that for up to $2,500 in this specific zip code. And that really, really, really helps when you're trying to do real estate investing, because you always work backwards, right? You always work backwards from what you're trying to get. That lets you know how much you can offer, that lets you know your rehab costs and all of that. So I'm gonna put a link in the description that actually has a site where you can go look at all the fair market rents and all their values for your specific area. Another thing that I really love about this type of investing is that 75% of that money, of that rent, is coming directly from the government. It's coming subsidized for the government. So it's going to be there on a specific day. That really, really helps, because now you don't have to stress about your tenant's financial situation. Ideally, you probably want to put a solid tenant in there that can pay, right? But worst case scenario, you are guaranteed at least 75% of that money every single month. Another thing that I love is there is really no advertisement cost, right? Like you can just stick this thing onto a government website where people have to go to apply to get these, and then they can go view them there. You don't have to go on apartments.com. You don't have to start calling around people, start going to war with other hosts on Airbnb. Like, no, there's literally no advertising cost. You will get booked if you go onto this government website that is available for all Section 8 rentals. And I can tell you now that there is always a wait list on these websites, right? So that tells me 3 things. That tells me, 1, it is a very underserved market. 2, the supply is low, and there's a lot of demand for it because there's a wait list for these individuals to come into these units. And 3, because there's so many more individuals trying to get into a Section 8 rental than there are Section 8 rentals, you can be a little bit more selective on your process, right? So maybe you don't like the fact that, somebody has 4 dogs, right? Like you don't have to let these 4 dogs in or whatever, or, stay at your Airbnb or whatever, because, you have to get it rented out. Now you can be a little bit more selective with your criteria and screen for really good tenants. I will say this, you are held to a bit of a higher standard in terms of safety and accessibility because it is a government-backed program. So for example, like bedrooms need to have closets, right? So you can't turn a closet into a bedroom anyway. And then also have to have like egressable windows, right? So like if you're planning on being a slumlord, like 1, you shouldn't be investing in real estate, period, right? 2, this is probably not the program for you because people are going to come and check on the property. I actually did a quick analysis of this type of property for one of my friends, and I'm gonna throw it over real quick to a cutout video to show y'all what this looks like.
Hey, what's good, y'all? So let's dive into this a little bit. This is the 2021 Final Fair Market Rents Documentation System. The link for this specific website is in the description right now, so you can go check that out. We can go ahead and pick a state. Let's go Maryland. and then we can decide on the city. Let's go Baltimore City. Click into the next screen, and then what do we have here? This is for Baltimore, Columbia, and Towson, all the fair market rents based off of the bedroom size. So we see a bedroom size of 2 bedrooms, roughly 1,400, 4 bedrooms, roughly 2,000. And then what if you have 5 bedrooms or 6 bedrooms? So each bedroom just adds 15% more to the 4-bedroom mark, right? So for 5 bedrooms, you would just do 1.15 times 2,053. For 6 bedrooms, it would be 1.13, and so on and so on. So we know what a 4-bedroom can get us, right? Roughly 2,000. So now let's hop over to Redfin. I love going on Redfin, either Redfin or HomeSnap, to search for on-market real estate. And obviously going to stick to Baltimore because that's our backyard here. And we're going to do a little bit of filtering, right? Don't want to pay more than $300K. Want a townhouse or a multifamily or single family. Once I put in that criteria, look around a little bit. Actually, the first one on my left is pretty interesting, right? 170, got a 3.2. Obviously, newly remodeled, newly finished. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Really like the property. This can definitely classify as luxury. If you put down 20%, a decent interest rate, you're good, right? You're less than $1,000, less than $900 a month for your mortgage. But for somebody that's just starting out, you're likely going to only be able to put down like 5%, and this will probably be your interest rate, right? Somewhere around 5.25 right now. So that still puts you in a pretty decent position, right? Around $1,164. That's not too bad. And yeah, we're 3 beds right now, 2 bath. So let's hop back over and just double check what we can get for that. So according to the site, we can get roughly $1,800 a month for that, right? That puts us, if I do the math really quickly in my head, that should be roughly around 600 and some change in terms of like profit every month. Obviously, we haven't factored in expenses, but because the house is new, you don't have to put a lot towards fixing it up. You don't have to put a lot towards, like maintenance and all that stuff. And if you screen your tenants correctly, you really shouldn't have a lot of issues when you turn over. So this is just a quick example of how to leverage this site and a free site to do this type of analysis.
So the third type of real estate investing that I think is going to be really, really powerful in 2022, going into 2023, especially in this economic climate, is passive investing in real estate syndications and real estate funds. So y'all know I'm gonna keep it a bean with you guys. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Real estate is a zero-sum game. That means for you to win, somebody else has to lose. And sometimes that's multiple people have to lose. Let's just take the 2020, 2021 real estate, market, for example. There were an average of 5 point something offers, 5.6 or 5.5 or something like that on every home, on every property. That means that every offer that was accepted, 4 people lost out on that offer. So now let's put that a little bit into perspective. So why are the Grant Cardones? Why are the Brandon Turners? Why are I don't even know all their names, Cal McElroys? Like, why are they telling us all, go invest, go invest, go invest. This is how to build wealth. This is how to do it. You want to know why? I'm going to tell you why right now. I think I got to sneeze. Hold on. I'm good. I'm going to tell you why. It's because we're not in their league. They're not playing the same game as us. Those dudes are playing at leagues way higher than us. So they're not affected. They're not bidding for single family properties between $200,000 and $500,000. Honestly, we are decades away from catching up to these guys in any capacity. At least the average person, right? The average investor is at least a decade from catching up to these guys in any capacity. Another thing is, like, it's very, very lucrative to sell hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, if you notice, a lot of their content always channels us back to some sort of product or some sort of course or some sort of something that they are selling or doing on the side, because they sell us hope. We want to learn. We want to be inspired. And then they're like, pay $400 and come take this course, or buy this book that, tells me exactly what this YouTube channel tells me, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not coming for these dudes at all. In fact, I admire some of them. I'm just saying, like, maturing is realizing that these guys are titans for a reason. Like, they've made entire careers out of winning these zero-sum games consistently. I'm talking like downturn in the market, upswing in the market, downturn, upswing. These guys are consistently winning. They are consistently winning because this is the hill that they will die on. This is their thing. They eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I want you to seriously ask yourself, now that I know that this is a zero-sum game, and I'm going up against that crazy dude over there that is not going to go to sleep tonight until he makes 1,000 calls, 100 offers, and he gets 10 responses. Do you really have the team, the capital, the resources, the time, the energy, the drive, the will, all of that to go up against these people that are literally here for it? So, I mean, I told you I'm gonna keep it a buck, right? Like, when I asked myself this question and I really sat down and said, Winston, do you have what it takes to beat somebody at that level? I came to the humbling answer that no, I do not have a winning team by my side. I don't have a rich uncle somewhere that's willing to bankroll me through my hiccups and through my mistakes and all of that. Another thing that happened actually, which was really, really funny, I was sitting with one of my mentors and I was like, I prepped for a conversation with him, right? Like, I'm like, yo, I know my stuff. Like, you're not about to little bro me this time. Blows me out the water, like, just intellectually, right? Just like about like real estate, just investing, market trends, all of the stuff that I thought that I studied up on and can like contribute intelligently to a conversation. And, I was holding my own for like the first like 20 minutes, but like, hour into the conversation, like there was a clear realization there, like, oh, okay, no, there's levels to this, like there's people that actually do this and not just at like a micro, zip code level. Like they're doing this at a macro, like almost global level at this point. So at that point, it was humbling, I would say again, but it was also like brilliant. I was like, no wonder I'm losing, right? Like, why am I going up against people that eat, sleep, breathe, and do this when I can work with them instead? And don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with saying I'm not here right now, but I want to get there and I will get there and I'm gonna work till I get there. But once I gotta tell you guys, like once I really sat down and looked at the day to day, I'm like, yo, I don't want to do this. Like that looks like that's not fun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I realized that it just was not for me, I had the idea like, hey, why don't I just invest with them instead of against them? And I invested in one of their funds. So you'll actually hear this term a lot being used in like the real estate community: fund, REIT, syndication, structure. Like I've heard different types of names for it, but it essentially is just a pool of people, like a group of people just putting their money together and investing in either one project or investing in a bunch of different real estate projects. And then when those projects yield a return, the money is taken by whoever is leading the project. He takes his cut. He gives his investors a cutback. So there are different types of platforms that kind of facilitate this process. So some of the more established ones are like Realty Mogul, Fundrise. Some of the more up and coming ones, you have myZorro.io. In the spirit of transparency, I am the CTO of myZorro. We are a real estate crowdfunding portal. We're aiming to democratize access to real estate investing, specifically in marginalized communities. So we're investing in places like Baltimore, Atlanta, Detroit, Charlotte, and a lot more. We could talk about that later. Typically, this type of investing has only been available to what are called accredited investors. So these are people that make either $200,000 or more a year or have a net worth of over $1 million. I don't know about you, but that's not a lot of us. And especially in our communities, not a lot of people are hitting that 200K or that $1 million net worth mark. This all changed in 2016 when the Fire Nation, aka the SEC, allowed for what's called Reg CF, regulated crowdfunding. This allowed people to now pool together money from different people, friends, family, or even people that they don't know, in lieu of doing a project. Now, what this means for you and what this means for me is that if I had an amazing deal that I know was going to make 30% cash on cash return, but I needed $100,000 to get it done, well, instead of me going to a bank somewhere to grab that money, I can go to 10 of my closest friends and I can say, lend me your arms, give me 10 bands each, and let's run this up. I would then do the project, get the return, and now my money is not going to Citibank, it's going to my boys, you know what I'm saying, to my friends. It's going back to our communities. We're able to offer value that way as well. I really, really love this type of investing for two distinct reasons. One, when times get tougher like this, access to capital gets snipped. And I promise you, unconventional financing methods begin to kind of take a rise, right? So something like crowdfunding to try and get that balance or try and get that differential that's not normally being lended by the banks anymore can be a lifesaver for a lot of deals. The second reason that I really like this method is because, keep in mind, this is a zero-sum game. The real players in this game, they're going to win. They have the track record, they have the capital, they have the team behind them. And if all you're really in it for is just equity and a check at the end of the month, then you don't need to lose your hair over this. Like, you don't need to lose sleep, right? Give them the capital, let them lose sleep. They're more than happy to trade it, right? And because they've operationalized how to do this over the course of decades, give them the bread, collect your nice little 8, 9, 10% returns, and go your separate way. This is really the only form of real estate investing that is truly passive. So there you have it, guys. My 3 favorite and definitely the most lucrative real estate investing strategies that I believe going into 2023 is going to help so many people. First things first, I literally do anything with residential multifamily, right? Like house hack, buy and hold, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, whatever you want to do with small multifamily, 2 to 4 units, it's going to make you money. 2, the high-end Section 8, I promise you that is an emerging, I don't even know if you can consider it emerging, but I know that it is popular right now and is very, very lucrative. I think that that's where the world is kind of trending, fortunately and unfortunately. But you'll definitely be able to make some money in that. And then lastly, if you just want to check, you just want some equity, you don't want the headache of it all, and you want the winners to be the winners, and you want, you know, people that know the game to go do their thing and run with your capital, go passive real estate investing in some funds, some trusts, and, you know, reap on the back end without putting in the hard work. Well, y'all, there you have it. If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. But most importantly, you know, just reach out if you have any questions. Reach out if you disagree about anything. Love to talk about it in the comments. We could dive into all those types of conversations later. Other than that, God bless you guys. Y'all be blessed. Peace.